All the links you need to join my chat or take action on the course or the mentorship are here. Otherwise, click that Twitter link to private message me. How's it going, everyone? It's Louis Crypto here. I'm back with another quant update for you all. Make sure you check out yesterday's video, very important. We have one more layer of defense before this capitulation. The question is, was that the layer of defense or is it the level below? In my personal opinion, although we were holding above that yesterday and the title said one more layer of defense, I wasn't meaning this area. I was talking about a much larger key support, and that's a $100 psychological level. While above this, our range high, we can say, is 150, so we're trapped between 100 and 150. In my personal opinion, I believe 150 is like a midpoint, but it's very vital because in 2021, I was calling this the support that if lost, the bear market will begin. So while we are still beneath it, it's going to act as our bear market box. But really and truly, when we're holding a $100 psychological level, I'm thinking that our range high is about a $200 level. So pretty much just up over here. But of course, there's like that midpoint in the way between 100 and 200, which is 150. And we can see so many key areas of support and resistance in the past. Every time that we reject, we can see that we return to this green box. So when we come over to the right, where we are right now, we're seeing a bearish pattern playing out. We've lost the neckline of the pattern. In actual fact, when it comes down to head and shoulders, I like to use two necklines. I'm going to look back to this example over here in which we lost the horizontal one, and we can see that we came up back above. If you want to look at that specifically, just that red line, we can see that we did go above it over here, but we failed to reclaim the yellow neckline, and so that's why we eventually continued lower. Even when I told you guys to buy in at $50 down here, I told you exactly right up there on that wick rejection on that specific day. Go check out that video if you want. You can go back if you want. That is October 2022, October the 17th, 2022. Go check out that video if you want. I'm not going to look through it and link it. Sorry, guys. But yeah, back then I said get out of Quant essentially, simply because we need to get above this. And of course, if this is the very first time we're testing it, I'm expecting a big rejection. The next time, not as harsh. But equally, as long as the $100 is holding and we break out of $150, we'd validate a double bottom pattern. And eventually this neckline over here, as we extend it further into the future, we will be tested at some point, of course. But if we want it to happen in the midterm, we need $100 to be held. On the loss of $100, you actually validate two patterns. So although we've been talking about this head and shoulders over here, this being your left shoulder, head, and right shoulder over here, the target itself becomes valid on the loss of the uptrending one. So equally, I would have been saying the same thing over here. On the loss of this yellow line, we're going down to $70. But we can see that we're still holding this horizontal red support, and only on the loss of that, then we actually carried on going down to the target. So the same thing here. We've lost this uptrending neckline, suggesting we should go to the target. But as long as we're maintaining this horizontal support, which also happens to be a psychological level, this is a key area of support which can bring us large opportunities to the upside. Of course, on the loss of it, that is completely invalid. While we are above it, I'm going to say that on the loss of it, it's not going to be the case. And the unfortunate thing is, while we're saying that on the loss of $100, this target will be met at 78, you in actual fact validate a much larger target. This was said on the channel about 6 months ago when we actually started coming down here in November. So more than 6 months now, 6-7 months ago, we were calling for this dead cat bounce scenario, which is just a descending triangle. And within that descending triangle, we created a head and shoulders pattern. And we've also got a larger head and shoulders pattern over here. This was the first one that we spoke about, but we never broke the neckline right over here. And then using this horizontal support, we've created another one over here. So this could just all be the right shoulder of a much larger one over here. You've got your targets anyway prepared for you guys. On the loss of $100, we'll be meeting this. Simply because this is the target out of the smaller head and shoulders, it will bring us a bounce. That bounce needs to reclaim this level. If we get rejected and lose the 618 over here, that is when I would believe we're coming back down to this larger descending triangles target down here, about $45-50. So I wouldn't be 100% confident, even on the loss of $100, that this is a guarantee. because again, as we've just been talking about this other range of $100 to $200, $200 over here, there's a midpoint, isn't there, at $150. And so equally it'd be the same over here. We're trying to go from 100 to 45 or 100 to 50, but there's going to be key areas in the way like 75, and that is down over here on this golden pocket, which is our target out of the smaller head and shoulders. So although on the loss of 100 we validate the both of these patterns targets, it's it's not highly like, but it's likely that you could get a bounce from here that reclaims this and actually heads higher, because again, when we have a big wave up like this, you need to correct down to the most retraceable levels, and that so happens to be the 0.5 and the 0.6 Fibonacci. Now we have patterns suggesting that if we were forgetting about the patterns, just looking at the rules of the fibs, on the loss of the 0.5 you go to the 618, and this also happens to be a $100 psychological level, and on the loss of that we're going to see 2 digits, and on the loss of this you will allow yourself to get to this target, which also happens to be the 0.618. So a lot of confluence, and again, this is the most retraceable level. So at the point of meeting these targets, we're pretty much meant to reverse, guys. That is the rules of the Fibonacci. So when you do meet one of these two, you're meant to reverse. So we did that already over here. We reversed, but we couldn't break through this bear market box. So that's why we're retracing back down to that low. And on the loss of that low, you know what happens. We come down to it's about $77 to $82. I will be looking to buy my Quant down here and every other alt personally, because Quant has been leading the market in terms of it was the first to get out of the bear market, and also it was the first to actually show us the bearish patterns. Although a lot of cryptos actually over the last few months have been going up, Quant has been doing nothing. Maybe that's been leading the market in that sense, that it was always bearish. I was always on the channel calling for lower price targets on the loss of $100, but I was always suggesting of these bearish patterns at least forming. Again, even if they form doesn't mean anything, and that's why I'm always telling you about this $100 level, because the patterns are there. No loss of 100, it means nothing, these patterns. So only on the loss of 100 they mean something, but they are already there, and that's what I was trying to warn you back in November. I'm already seeing the patterns. If we lose certain key levels, it's going to get very ugly. So that's why, as we can see, Quant has been at pretty much the same price since back over here, which was July 2022. We've pretty much been in this range for 10 months, while other cryptos have been trending upwards and meeting new highs and constant higher highs and higher lows, whereas Quant almost for one whole year has been doing nothing. So for me, in that sense, it has been leading. And luckily enough for you guys, if we were to get cheaper Quant, I just see that as a further opportunity. So when I do believe that Quant has bottomed, whether that is here or we bounce from here and we actually fail to reclaim 100 and then we do continue down, wherever I personally believe Quant has bottomed, that's when I'm going to get into my alts. I'm not even going to be looking at the alts chart. Usually I'd look at Bitcoin, but for me personally, Quant has been screaming this correction for almost a year now. So that is why I'm going to be taking action in terms of what Quant is doing. So if Quant is losing this support, then I know all of crypto is going to dump very harsh. And then once Quant has bottomed, whether that's over here or even further down, and it actually starts coming up, we see levels actually being reclaimed, like the $100 psychological level, head back to the range high 150, and then flip that into a bull market box looking for that $300 plus Quant. And yeah, this could all just be a nasty, horrible 1 year long correction to actually head higher. This would be a beautiful scenario. So any cheaper prices that we see going forward with Quant, I'm personally going to be using it as an opportunity. If you want me to guide you through this, you can join my chat. You don't need to have learned anything. You can just join my chat. If you haven't learned anything, you're not really confident with your ability, I have courses in place as well as one-to-one mentorship. The course is for someone who doesn't have much time on their hands, but the mentorship, you get my course included if you get the full plan, which is 10 sessions, and you will also it will be personalized to your struggles. So yeah, all the links that you need are pinned in the comment section below, as I said earlier in the video. So just click that course of mentorship or that membership. If you want a single session just to try it out, you can hit this link over here. Otherwise, private message me on my Twitter. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let's see if Quant will now capitulate, or if this last layer of defense will hold. But at the moment, as you can see, since yesterday's update, we have lost this 106 support with today's current candle. It's not confirmation as of yet, but as we can see here on the 4 hour, if we scale down, we can see a clear loss of this. So yeah, if we pump back above, that's a reclaim before the daily candle close. That's great, but at the moment we can see that we've lost it as support, retested as resistance, looking for that continuation lower, as all the moving averages are suggesting, while we are trending beneath all of them. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you do like, subscribe and comment for the algorithm, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.